Well, let's get started. Good morning. My name is Matt Mangriotis. I'm the product manager for the PMP series of products from Cambium Networks, and today we're going to go through a little bit about the latest and greatest that's going on with the platform, share with you some stories about how folks are using this platform and all that kind of stuff. And logistics-wise, I'm going to go through the slideware, but feel free to type questions into the question box and we'll get them answered. I might pause in the middle. I might answer them at the end. But anytime you have a question, feel free to type them into the question box and we'll get those answered. So let's begin. Welcome. And if you've heard these before, I like to keep them short and I like to leave a lot of time for folks to ask questions if they want. So let's get going. So Cambium Networks, obviously, we have a wide portfolio and it keeps growing every day. We have world-class wireless networks, products from 2 meters to 245 kilometers. We can connect anything and anyone. That's our mission, really, to connect the unconnected. So going from left to right in this chart, we have the indoor Wi-Fi units that are very well suited and compatible with the 450 platform and the PMP platform, ePMP as well. That'll act as a managed indoor router that they pair very well. We go to enterprise class products, the E400, E500, and those are actually being updated as we speak. There's new products coming out every day. This portfolio is growing like crazy and advancing in technology very, very quickly. We're maturing, I would say. So it's been around for a couple of years now, and we're starting to gain traction and get some legs under this portfolio. The Wi-Fi stuff is really taking off. Great value, great performance for the price. Moving to the right of the Maestro tab there, we have the ePMP 2000, which brings smart beamforming. It's a beamforming product that's capable of eliminating or at least reducing interference in the ePMP networks. Both 5 gig and 2.4, we have the capability of operating in a high noise environment at a reasonable cost. And then if you keep going right, we get the 450M. We'll spend a majority of the time today on the 450M, the Medusa product, which many people know and love. And then the PTP 700, we have the PTP 670, which was just announced, which is our next generation, if you will, of the 650. It does some really cool things. So we keep advancing, keep moving forward, and we have a wide portfolio of products that can support any wireless need. This is just another view of it, but with the 820 and 650 and 670 products, we got really the class of the wireless link, the long distance wireless link, able to do microwave and unlicensed. Going to the middle in the distribution access layer, obviously the 450, which we'll spend the majority of time on today, and the ePMP product lines do that multi-point access layer type stuff. And then coming inside or outside the home for Wi-Fi support to provide connectivity with devices and people. That's really the goal of the pilot portfolio. All of this is managed by cnMaestro in a single pane of glass, making troubleshooting, monitoring, inventory management, all of the controller for the Wi-Fi products, everything rolled into one tool. Great portfolio of products. And we'll spend most of the time today on Medusa. Just to introduce what it is, if you haven't heard of it, I think most of the folks on the call probably have heard of it. It's been around for about a year now, but it's really a leading edge technical innovation in the portfolio. What this product allows you to do is what's called multi-user MIMO and massive multi-user MIMO. This means in this product we have a 14 by 14 antenna array, which communicates to up to 7 subscribers simultaneously in the same time slot. You can transmit 7 different sets of data to 7 different subscribers in an ideal scenario. The end result in the real world, it's about a 3 to 4 times the capacity of what you're getting with a current 450 system. So in a 450 system, in a moderately loaded system, you can expect the capacity of a sector to be between, let's call it 60 to 70 megabits per second in an average deployment. By simply changing out that access point to a Medusa access point, you can realize real world throughputs of 200 to 250 to 300 megabits. And in ideal scenarios, you can achieve over 400, and we can demonstrate 500, 550 megabits per second in a 20 megahertz channel in a test that shows a grouping of 7 subscribers at once. Some other really real world benefits of this product is that you're protecting your investment, right? You can use the existing 450 subscribers, and by simply swapping out your access point or your base station in a sector, you can leave those existing subscribers out there without having to do any kind of truck roll or upgrade to them aside from software, and realize this capacity increase. And because of the technology in this product, your uplink sensitivity increases, and you have uplink beamforming as well. So your uplink modulations, by and large, will improve by 1 or even 2 levels, resulting in a much more stable link, and you're increasing link budget in a general sense. And we'll talk a little bit about that in 15.1.1. We've done it again and increased the link budget even further. And it's advanced processing, right? There's a very, very powerful processor in this product in order to do all these cool things, all the calculations required to access multi-user MIMO and create this enhanced capacity and enhanced spectral efficiency. And it's all self-contained. All of this is in all of the antenna array, all of the RF connections, everything is contained in this one single unit. The only thing required to come out of this unit is the Ethernet cable, which can provide power over Ethernet as well as the data path. It does have an SFP option if you so choose to go with a fiber connection, but it can be a single cable coming out of this radio. Very, very nice package, very easy to maintain and deploy. So let's talk a little bit about 15.1.1. So 15.1 was released in May. That brought 30 and 40 megahertz channels to the rest of the platform, the 450 and 450i. So you can do even wider channels and get even more data through those channels, through those products. So a 450i can now push about 270 megs through a single access point, through a single sector. 450M will get those wider channels towards the end of the year. It doesn't quite have it yet, but we're working on that right now. But what we did do, we are targeting to release this week 15.1.1. And the reason for the extra .1 is because there's a lot of bug fixes and stability improvements that are coming into this platform. So 15.1, we had a couple of known issues that we reported in the release notes, and a lot of those have been addressed and fixed in 15.1.1 to make it a more stable release. In addition to that, we've added a bunch of features that are focused really on the Medusa product, the 450M. And that includes narrow channel support. So where you can't use 20 meg channels, you can still take advantage of these really useful capacity increases on narrower channels. If you're limited on spectrum, so limited on spectrum you can't find a 20 meg channel, you can try 5, 10, or 15 and take advantage of the multi-user MIMO support. We're also adding the ability to function in the other 5 gig bands that were heretofore not available. Especially in FCC, this will probably be quite useful in the near term as we get the new 450B subscriber out, which also supports these bands, which I'll talk about in just a minute. This support comes at the right time. So now we can support both 5.1 and 5.2 in addition to 5.4 and 5.8 with the 450M. Along with that, we have a demo mode now. What this means, we have 2 products in the 450M series. We have the full-blown 450M, which provides full multi-user MIMO capability. We also have a 450M Limited, which costs a bit less. And the reason we offer that is because we know that there's cases where tower costs or tower climbs are very expensive. Installation costs are very expensive at the tower site. Maybe it's hard to get to. Maybe you don't want to be going up there and changing out hardware as often. So we offer a 450M Limited, which does not do multi-user MIMO, but contains all the benefits of having uplink beamforming. It allows you to do a software upgrade, remote software upgrade that can allow multi-user MIMO at any point in the future. And what we've added to that now is this ability to do demo mode, which means that you can turn on multi-user MIMO for a period of 30 calendar days of time. You can turn it on and off as necessary to kind of use it and see what it'll do for that sector. So you can put out less money, put up the hardware that's capable, try it out, see where you need it, and then when you think you need it full time, you pay for the key, upgrade it, which is the same price as buying the full. There's no penalty to doing it this way, and you're off and running without any further tower climbs or tower expense. So great stuff. We've also added statistics, additional statistics to help you optimize the sector. So some of the things we've heard as feedback in the initial deployments was, hey, how do I tell if this is really doing what I think it should be doing? How do I tell if it's optimized? So we've added a bunch of statistics in there to help with that as well. So a lot of improvements in 15.1.1 specifically for the Medusa product. So we're real excited to get this out. The beta is available already. But if you're a little hesitant in downloading the beta, we will have the official version before this Friday. So I want to talk a couple of case studies we've recently done. I've been involved personally in a bunch of these things, and want to just share the experience of what kind of the basics of why we're doing what we're doing. What is Medusa doing for people today? So in Ireland specifically, we have a customer called Eurona in Ireland. They are in a rural area of Ireland, about 2 hours outside, an hour and a half, 2 hours outside of Dublin. So there's not a lot of density of customers, but there are several areas where they have businesses and residential subscribers that need to be connected and need a better internet connection. And in Ireland, they have a national broadband plan that really requires you to be able to cover these folks in order to get funding from the government. Very similar to what's happening in the US, where you need to demonstrate a certain coverage to get funding from the government. And fiber is just too much money to put out there. Drilling or digging trenches and putting fiber, it's just not economically feasible when the density is not there to support that level of customer subscription. And so what Eurona was doing was putting out 450, but they realized that the capacity for the spectrum that they have is not, they're just not able to give these large plans to these enterprise customers that really require a significant amount of throughput to each. So now with Medusa, deploying Medusa, we launched Medusa out there. He's got about 20 some or so of them already in the air, and he's deploying more as we speak. And he's able to offer these high throughput packages, 50 meg packages, to these enterprise customers, along with residential packages, 8, 10 megs packages to residential customers along the way, without subscriber replacements. So the key feature that he realized with the Medusa product is that he's started his 450 network, and without forklift replacement of subscribers, he's able to up that the performance of that network and get those large packages to his customers. So great stuff. We actually had a launch event in late June out in Ireland and had the Minister of Communications of Ireland come and speak to the folks in the area and participate with us in this launch. So it was really good stuff, good results, and trying to, as it says, bridge that digital divide out in Ireland. Another case study a little closer to the headquarters here in Illinois, Pixius is out in Kansas, and what they're doing is a very similar story in terms of capacity. Their existing 450 network really just couldn't keep up with the demand for capacity. We really, in the busy hour, they were hitting 100% frame utilization in a lot of sectors. They had many sectors out, and the solution before Medusa was to put out additional sectors. And at a single site, they had about 12 sectors or 16 sectors to service that one site using lots and lots of 20 meg channels. So tons of spectrum being used, really tough to manage, really tough from an interference standpoint. There's some interference problems with that, and it wasn't quite giving enough capacity. And so the solution there obviously is to replace those sectors with Medusa. Medusa provided not only the ability to free up a lot of spectrum. We went from 16 sectors to 4 sectors using frequency reuse, so only 40 megahertz of spectrum now being used at that site. And the total capacity went up about 33%, so they're getting about 1.6 gig versus a 1.2 with 16 sectors. So it's really about servicing those customers in a better way, not just increasing capacity, but doing it in a spectrally efficient manner, and being able to do it without truck rolls on the subscriber side. This is taking advantage of all the great features and advancements of the Medusa platform, while keeping your overall total costs down. So these case studies, along with a couple others, are actually on the website. I encourage you to kind of go take a look, see what people are doing with the products. If there's any questions about them, I'm free to answer them. For the most part, I've participated in both of these with both of these customers. We've been working with them, leading them through optimization of the network, and making sure that these products are doing what we're promising they'll do. So what's upcoming? That's kind of what's been out for the last 6 months or so. What's coming in the near future? Well, one of the great additions to the platform that are coming is the 450B. The 450B is the next generation, if you will, of subscriber module in the 450 platform. And what this brings to the table is it's going to be 2 different form factors. The first available in August, late August, we will have the mid-gain 450B, which includes a 17 dBi panel antenna. It's a patch panel antenna, integrated device. So it looks very similar to the Force 180 product, but it'll be available in August, and it'll have it. Basically, this product has the same processor as the 450i. So where you got enhanced packet processing, you're not going to be limited anymore. A lot of folks have been talking about being limited to about 60 megs, 50 to 60 megs through of aggregate throughput through a subscriber module, through a single subscriber. That's mainly due to the packet processing limitations of the 450 subscriber module. This product eliminates those issues and allows you to process. We can process up 250 megs of aggregate data through this guy without any issues. So it's a great addition to the platform. It also brings a couple of other features, namely gigabit Ethernet support, which allows you to break that 100 megabit in single direction barrier. And it supports the entire band. It supports all the way down to 4900 and all the way up to 5925. So we will have the intent is to have support for all bands upon launch, and we're working toward that end. So we're still getting final approvals from some of the regulatory bodies, but the intent is to have full support for all the bands right out of the gate in late August. We also eliminated the secondary port. There's no longer an aux port or a timing/default port. The audio, that was replaced by a 3.5 millimeter audio jack. So you can actually plug a pair of headphones in directly to the device and use the alignment tone directly. So it's a much easier deployment, easy to align and use that tone to do so. We are reusing that same 30 volt power supply. So the same one that's used in the 450 SM today can be used with this guy. Which means you can actually go to a customer and replace his subscriber without even him being home, because you got that power supply already. It's also polarity agnostic, so if there's a competitor or a ubiquity supply out there that's the opposite polarity, but of similar power levels, keep in mind this device does use about 12 watts of power. Then a similar power supply with a different polarity can also be used if it's a 30 volt device. And I think the best thing about this is the price. I know we don't like to talk about prices generally speaking, but this is it's $299 for that device. There's only one device. It's uncapped. We're no longer doing speed tiers. This is uncapped and full throughput all the way around, and it's what I think is a much more reasonable price than the 450i subscriber that's out today. So that's coming in late August, and we're excited to get that out into the field. There was a question written about, is this product, the 450B, going to replace the current 450? The answer is not right away. We will keep the existing 450 subscriber module active for some time. I don't have a date yet when we will cancel that. Eventually, I believe we will cancel that, but not in the near future. I expect it to be about a year, maybe even more, before we get rid of the older subscriber module. And while we're talking about it, another question came in about will 450B support 900 megahertz? The answer is no. This antenna is very specific to the 5 gig platform, so we don't have any plans yet to do a 450B style in the 900 megahertz product. Another really cool thing coming out, actually this will come out concurrent with 15.2, which is expected in September, but it's the mobile installer app, and it's going to be called cnArcher, as in Cambium Networks Archer, and Archer because we're hitting the target or hitting the bullseye. What this app will bring will be the ability to do alignment, AP evaluation. It'll store the latitude and longitude of the SM in Maestro. It'll allow you to do link test. You can configure the radio, you can upgrade software, and you can do all of this without typing anything in, so it'll eliminate errors. Lots of cool stuff with this app. We will have a beta version of this app available in the next few weeks in the Google Play Store. We are doing this app on Android devices first. So walking through the graphics on the right, as I mentioned, you can take the GPS from the device and store that. It'll store that automatically. And the way you use this product, we will recommend purchase of a battery/Wi-Fi dongle that will plug into the SM, provide power, and provide a local SSID for the device to connect to. Once that device connects to that local SSID, you're now in communication with the radio, and you can use the GPS from the phone or app or device, and it'll push that into the radio, which will then push it to Maestro. Then you can move to evaluate the best AP or the AP that you want to connect to, and find that. And then you can do the alignment, and the alignment is a page that refreshes 4 times a second. So it's a very much granular alignment tool without having to hold a PC connected to the radio while you're standing on the roof of a residence or business that you're trying to connect. So hopefully much easier and much safer method to align the product. Once it's aligned and registered, it'll perform a link test. That link test results can be stored or will be stored in CN Maestro, which really will give you an idea of what the performance of the radio was at the time of installation. And that information can be very helpful if you're going back to troubleshoot at a later date. You can also push a configuration template through Maestro. You don't need to use Maestro necessarily when you're doing this sort of thing, but it can, which is a great thing. So it can also upgrade software when necessary. So good, very good, we think a very useful feature set that can be brought to bear with, again, this will be for 450 SMs in the initial deployment, but we do have plans to expand this app to support not only Android but iOS in the future, and then also it'll support 450 out of the gate, and then also ePMP, in the near future as well. So we are planning to use this device or this app, cnArcher, to expand it throughout the portfolio. So Cambium not only offers very cool products, but we also offer care, services, and support. We've just launched what's called Cambium Care, and I know some folks look at this as an added expense to their networks, but really it's about how do we take care of customers while still offering the ability to do lots of stuff with the equipment. So Cambium Care Standard is offered as when you buy the product, you get Cambium Care Standard. It's 8x5, Monday through Friday, tech support through phone, web, email, all that sort of thing. If you want to be on a maintenance program to have accelerated care or added features, that's an option now as well, where it wasn't before. And that gives you 24/7 accelerated case management, escalation policies, that sort of thing. So it's really, the option is there to have enhanced support where we didn't have that option in prior days. So very, very, I think, useful tools to be as an option if you are in need of that sort of thing for your network. And then with Cambium Care Prime, you can add to that all risks, repair, advanced replacement, that sort of thing for the hardware. It's really a very useful thing for a mission critical type network if you so choose to do that. So inquire of those from your reseller, and we can get you on board some of those plans if necessary. As usual, with most of these webinars, I want to plug the community. We have a great community. It's getting better every day. I participate on there personally every day. I at least take a look and see what's out there. I try to respond to most queries. It's a great place to share knowledge, ask questions, get answers. And if you don't hear what you like or hear what you want or get your answer today during the call, feel free to go to that community forum and post the question. Lots of people are reading it, and there's more joining every day. So lots of good stuff. We try to put knowledge-based articles up at least a couple times a week to enhance that the capability of searching online without having to wait for people. So again, Cambium Community, great place to go. And then, of course, we're on social media. A lot of stuff on Twitter, Facebook. Take a look. Lots of cool stuff. Fun times. It's fun to be with Cambium right now. We got a lot of great stuff coming, and I'll go ahead and answer questions at this point. So feel free again to type in questions into the question box. And I see one more about the 450B, asking if the 450B will cover the 365 band. And as of right now, no, we're launching the 5 gig version of 450B right now. We don't yet have any plans to do it in 3 gig. But that's always an option on the table that we're considering in the near future. But there's no dates around that yet. And I had a question unrelated to the exact webinar, but the question is what's replaced the power supply, the ACP SSW09B. That was the old 29.5 volt power supply with, it's kind of a wall wart style. The part number that replaced it is N000900L001B, which is a 30 volt. It's kind of what we call a brick on a rope. And it's available at your reseller. They all know about this replacement, and that that's the current power supply. That's used with all 450s and the EPMPs. It's a gigabit capable power supply. A question about 450B, does it fit in the same reflector mount as the 450 SM? The answer is no. So the 450B is no longer augmentable, which is why we will have 2 versions. We will have the mid gain, which is 17 dBi, and the high gain integrated dish, which is about, we expect it to be 25 dBi. So those 2 devices are what's being offered. You can't add a dish to them. It won't work. Uh-oh. Did I lose it? Can you guys still hear me? Okay. I'll keep going as if you can hear me. Another question about other band support with 450B is, will 450B support 2.4? The answer is, again, no plans, no immediate plans for that. And that one is really limited by investment in the business. 2.4 is a very small band worldwide. 5 gig is a much bigger business. 2.4 is only available really in the US. as of right now, there's no plans. It's kind of a third priority behind 365. Let's see. Question is, what's the major difference between the M and the B? Well, the 450M is an access point. It's the cnMedusa access point. It contains lots of the leading edge technical innovations that allow multi-user MIMO. The B is only a subscriber module. So there are two different products. They all work together, which is why they're all related to 450, the 450 platform. But yes, they're completely different products. Surge suppressor. What's the recommended surge suppressor for 450B? And the recommended surge suppressor, we don't really have a great solution for that as of right now. You don't want to use the 600 SSH because that's limited to 100 meg. And you don't want to use the L033, what we had called the 1000 SS or the gigabit surge suppressor that we sell, because that's designed for a 56 volt device. So that is a hole that we do have right now. There are products on the market that can support gigabit 30 volt surge suppressor. There are other products in the ecosystem, and we are working on one as well. But we don't have a recommended one from Cambium Networks at this time. That's a very good question, and thanks for asking that. Another question was about 365 Medusa. So 450M in 365 is being actively developed and worked on. It is not due out until Q3 of next year. So we're expecting to have that out mid next year or in Q3 of next year. So that's the goal for that product. Question about 5.1 and 5.2. Are those bands available for 450B, or how do I use them? So in the US, 5.1 and 5.2 are actually unlicensed bands, and they're used for fixed wireless communication. They're unlicensed, so you can use them. In other areas of the world, they're not available. So it really depends on where you are. So check with the regulators in your local area to see if those bands are available. So in the US, for sure, there's lots of availability in those bands. Will the installer app be free to download? The answer is yes. So in order to use, you can use the installer app in any way that you can connect to the radio. So you don't necessarily need this dongle that we're talking about to use the installer app. You can certainly use it in any way that you can connect to the radio. So if you can connect to the local Wi-Fi at the customer premise, and it's connected to the SM, you can still use that installer app without the dongle. So it's a very useful tool, even if you don't have the dongle. The dongle is not, we won't be reselling the dongle right away, but we're working on a solution for that as well. But we'll recommend where to get that dongle. I don't really know the prices of the dongle at this point. More questions coming in. Let me read them. So there's a question about LTE. What are we doing with LTE? So Cambium Networks obviously is engaged with lots of folks that are evaluating and looking at LTE, and we as well are investigating how do we apply this technology and use it in our portfolio. So we are definitely underway in that investigation, and stay tuned for more information on how that's going to apply to the portfolio. So there's the buzzword out there is LTE, and how do we take advantage of that? We're not going to be reinventing things. We're not going to be inventing standards. We obviously, the 450 is a tried and true, very reliable, very scalable platform, and we love it. And we're also investigating LTE and how that applies. It's really about the underlying protocol and the advantages that it could bring to the platform in general. So very, very intense investigation going on right now. Will the CN Archer, the mobile installer app, says when can we download it? We are expecting, again, to do a beta release in the near future, in the next few weeks. So it's not available today, but it will be in the next few weeks. We're expecting to have that available. The final or official version that will be released is likely in September. So just to clarify the compatibility of the portfolio one more time. All of the 450 devices that exist in the platform are compatible and interoperable, meaning if you have a 450, 450i, or 450M access point or base station, that is compatible and can be linked with any subscriber module that's out there today, 450, 450i, or 450b. And you can mix and match those throughout your network. I think that answers all the questions. I'll give you guys one more minute if you want to come up with anything. I appreciate the level of engagement. It's been a pretty good webinar. I always happy when folks have things to ask. It means we're doing something that's sparking interest. So great stuff. Thank you everyone for joining. This webinar is being recorded and it'll be posted in our forum. If you know folks that have missed it, feel free to go to the forum and check it out. And thanks again for joining. Look forward to talking to you again in the near future. Thanks.